Oh, yes, it is. It is a Tuesday episode, day two post flow here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, Donno Daily. I am Alex Donno. Huge welcome and shout out to everybody who's already in with us on the live chat, or maybe you're watching this video later on replay. We appreciate everyone. And whether you're watching live or watching on replay, do us a solid and smash that like button. And make sure you subscribe to 5 Reasons Sports on YouTube. We've been coming at you from all angles over the past 28 hours since the Brian Flores news went public yesterday. We've done like 5 or 6 different live streams on it, and that may or may not be including the emergency episode of 3 yards per carry from yesterday. So one thing is for sure, if you consume 5 Reasons Sports content, you are definitely getting your fix on Brian Flores news. Why was he fired? Should he have been fired? Who should replace him? We're going to focus on the last of those questions primarily on this episode, on who should replace Brian Flores, who the candidates are. You've got a couple of candidates that are confirmed that are going to be interviewed in short order, who I think they should go after, who you guys think the Dolphins should go after to replace Flo. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on today's episode on the why, although I may be lying about that because Big John Stud is going to join us at 3:45 today. I have not spoken on air to Big John Stud since the Flow news dropped. So, and Big John, for those of you who watch him, he usually joins us on Wednesdays. I don't think I'm going to have a show tomorrow, just FYI. So he's joining us on Tuesday instead of Wednesday. And for those of you who watch Big John Stud make his weekly appearances with me, you've gotten the impression he's not a big Flow fan. So I don't think Big John has lost too much sleep over Brian Flores getting the axe. So we'll ask him his take on why it happened and who he thinks the Dolphins should go after. And also, I was texting with Big John earlier today, and he notified me just so I could know to be ready for this. But he notified me he is going to strongly disagree with a couple of things that I said on yesterday's show. I have a feeling the things he disagrees with me on probably have to do a lot with Tua Tagovailoa because he is a big time Tua lover, and I'm a Tua skeptic. Okay, I'm neither a hater nor a lover, but I don't think Tua is a franchise quarterback, and I'm going to stand by that until proven otherwise. And I'm not expecting to be proven otherwise. We're also going to take a little bit of a detour, but a great detour today at about 3:10. And I don't think any 5 Reasons Sports viewer is going to mind this too much. We're going to talk to Brady Hawk about the Miami Heat. They looked flawless against the Phoenix Suns over the weekend. We're going to talk to Brady about the way things are going and the excellent job that Eric Spoelstra is doing today. It's Taco Tuesday, so we're going to talk with David Friedman, Taco about sports today at around 3:25, 3:30. So we're absolutely loaded today. You know, I see a lot going around. There's a lot of fighting amongst Dolphin fans. Dolphin fans fighting and arguing is really nothing new. Fighting about Flo, whether he should have been let go, why he was let go. Guys, I want to make something abundantly clear. Brian Flores getting canned, whether you agree with it or not, it wasn't just one factor that led to him being fired. I guarantee you, there were a number of different grievances, right or wrong. You could still say, hey, they made a terrible move. You know, Flo, 2 straight winning seasons, the first time the Dolphins have done that in about 20 years. Whether you think this is the wrong move or the right move, you have to understand it wasn't one thing that got Flo fired. It was a number of different grievances and disagreements that got Flo fired because like one of the newest common narratives that I see getting thrown out there, and Dave Hyde wrote an article about this in the Sun Sentinel. And we actually talked about this yesterday because our friend Jason Sarney from Fin Maniacs, who's very well plugged in, was reporting this yesterday that after or I think it might have been at halftime of the Patriots game, Flo and Tua get into a verbal spat where Tua basically accused Flores of not knowing how to talk to people. This was the blanks that were filled in by the Dave Hyde piece. And then Tua eventually actually used an F-bomb on Brian Flores. And so now people are saying, oh, well, look how bad of a communicator Flo was. There's also a big faction of people who keep on saying the reason, as if there's only one reason, but people saying the reason Brian Flores got fired is simply because he didn't believe in Tua Tagovailoa, that's why he got fired. that may be part of it. I know he and Tua didn't get along. We've known that here for months, okay? I know he and Tua Tagovailoa do not get along. Tua doesn't like him. I don't think Flo respects Tua. But if you think that was the one factor that got Flo fired, not believing in Tua, if that was the one factor that got him fired, I might be Team Flo. Because, like, Flo questioning Tua Tagovailoa as a franchise quarterback, if that was what actually got Brian Flores fired, maybe they shouldn't have fired Brian Flores. Maybe they should have promoted Brian Flores. But no, I don't think that was the top factor that got him let go. We talked yesterday about the strained relationship and the schism between Flo and Grier. And I was reading this within the last couple of hours. Another reporter in this market that I trust. There are not a whole lot of trustworthy reporters in South Florida, but among those who are trustworthy, Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald. Barry Jackson reported that Flores, quote, was essentially running the Dolphins building, but wanted more control, quote unquote, and wanted the authority formalized to eliminate the contract annoyance of general manager Chris Grier having final say on the draft and free agency. So now that report probably coming from Chris Grier's camp. So that doesn't mean it's not true, because there is an obvious power struggle. We talked about that power struggle yesterday. This illuminates that power struggle and articulates it in a way that I was not able to do yesterday because I didn't know this detail. But Brian Flores asking for more power to the point where he wanted to have final say over the draft and roster, which are things that Chris Grier currently has. You can understand why that relationship became untenable, that Chris Grier and Brian Flores cannot work together. So Stephen Ross had two options. Well, three options, really. Stephen Ross says, okay, I can fire Flo, or I can fire Grier, or I can fire them both. He opted for option number one. He opted to say, okay, I've got a GM and a head coach who cannot work together because, guys, it's pretty important, right? When you've got a general manager who's picking players and signing players for the head coach to coach up and for the head coach to manage, you can't be backstabbing each other. Like, you need those two entities, the GM and the head coach, or the front office and the head coach, if you want to paint it with more of a broad brush. You need them to have alignment, and you need them to be working in concert. And if they cannot agree on who should have more power, and if they can't stand each other, which I think was the case with Flo and Grier, you can't have them both working for you. So Stephen Ross had to either fire both of them, which he's never done before. Never. Stephen Ross, in his history as owner of the Miami Dolphins, every time he's made a change at head coach or general manager, those things have never happened simultaneously. There's always been a holdover. He probably looks at it and says, hey, if we're going to have a transition of power, I want somebody to stick around for that transition. I don't necessarily think that's the right way to do this, but that's the way Stephen Ross does it, okay? So Stephen Ross wasn't going to fire both of them, and none of us should be surprised that he chose Grier over Flores, because Grier has been with this organization for 18 years, and the guy is a survivor. He's been climbing up the ladder steadily since 2004. How many front office purges has Chris Grier survived? I think Chris Grier needs to be held accountable for the lack of offensive line talent for as long as he's been in charge with the Miami Dolphins. Just the lack of effectiveness from the offensive line. I know some of you think that Tua Tagovailoa is some kind of a savior, but I can look at Chris Grier and said, are you sure drafting a game manager with the 5th overall pick when you could have had a thoroughbred like Justin Herbert? Are we sure he shouldn't be held accountable for that? But clearly Stephen Ross trusts Chris Grier more than he trusts Brian Flores. That's why Flores doesn't have a job right now, although I think he's going to land on his feet. He's got an interview with the Chicago Bears coming up, but why he doesn't have a job right now and why Chris Grier does, okay? So I want to go through Maddie Blue says, Tua got Flores fired. Nice to hear. Maddie, did you listen to anything that I said at the start of the show? I'm trying to tell you that there's no one factor. Tua alone did not get Flo fired. I don't think Grier alone got Flo fired. And honestly, this is one that we talked about yesterday, haven't talked about yet today. If you're building a case to fire Brian Flores, you can make a pretty goddamn strong case when you look at his assistant coaches, who he's hired to do these jobs. when you look at the clown car full of offensive coordinators, when you look at an offensive line coach who is completely unqualified and completely clueless to do that job, then I think that stuff alone is case in point why you could argue Brian Flores could have been fired for that. And everybody keeps saying, well, how do you fire a guy who had a 7-game winning streak? A lot of coaches have been fired for having 7-game losing streaks. He did that too. Can we not hold him accountable for, I'm going to give him a mulligan on 2019 because the roster was so barren that year. It is what it is. You didn't expect him to win even 5 games with that roster. But then 2020, terrible start, strong finish. 2021, awful start, very strong finish. If you're going to praise him for the strong finishes, don't you also have to scratch your head and wonder, why do Brian Flores coach teams suck ass in September and October? I think these are fair questions to bring up. So Flo is gone. Flo is out. He may wind up being the Chicago Bears coach, or a certain other person on our radar might end up the Chicago Bears coach. We'll get to that in a second. Ooh, my guy, Devin Jordan. Thank you for the super chat. He's not wrong here. He says, Donno, I've seen this movie before. It's a never-ending cycle of hiring a new head coach, Gase to fix Tannehill, and now they want to hire an OC as head coach to fix Tua. That, not only thank you for the donation, that is very generous and very awesome, but that message is also a pretty good prelude to what we're going to get to here with these candidates. The Miami Dolphins have been given permission to interview Bills offensive coordinator Brian Daboll. Now, actually, I will say, out of the names that we're looking at who don't have head coaching experience but coordinating experience, Daboll's one of my top 2 or 3 favorites in that category. Again, I much prefer to have somebody with head coaching experience, and I wish that's the direction Miami would go in, because they failed to do that in the past, and I think it's haunted them taking the chance on the next great coordinator. But I think Daboll's done a really good job in Buffalo, and selfishly, if Brian Daboll were to get the head coaching gig in Miami, a lot of us would love it if he could find a way to bring Tom Brady down here to work on his staff to be his offensive coordinator. That would be a promotion for Brady, or sorry, for Jesus Christ, I need to get some sleep. Ken Dorsey. That was a Freudian slip at the top degree. I was trying to say Ken Dorsey. I referred to him as Tom Brady. Woo! I'm going to try to get my 8 hours tonight. Yeah, I would like to see Brian Daboll bring Ken Dorsey down here to be the offensive coordinator. Now, if Dorsey doesn't come with Daboll, he may stay behind in Buffalo, get promoted to OC there. But the possibilities of Dorsey coming down here would be very interesting. Here's another coordinator that the Dolphins have gotten permission to interview. This was reported 3 or 4 hours ago. 49ers offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel. Now, this one I find very interesting, okay? And this is another guy without head coaching experience. There's some good, and there are also some red flags with McDaniel. I'll explain. I've seen McDaniel, and if you followed his career, he is like the consigliere to the Shanahan family, right? For over a decade and a half, he worked with Mike Shanahan, and Kyle Shanahan works with Kyle Shanahan, of course, in San Francisco. And Mike McDaniel, he is regarded as, I'm not the first person to spit out this word. I've seen this word used a lot in describing McDaniel. He's been described as an offensive genius, especially in terms of the running game, okay? Offensive genius is the way people describe this guy. However, 2 big red flags for me, and this is nothing personal against McDaniel. This could be one where he ends up a head coach somewhere else and becomes like a 2-time Super Bowl winner somewhere, and we'll say, oh, we're going to be all kicking ourselves for not hiring McDaniel. But yeah, I've got my reservations when you're talking about, again, a coordinator who's never been a head coach. And also, he's a coordinator who doesn't call the plays. I'm scarred, okay? Because we hired a guy like that about a decade ago, a coordinator who didn't call plays. That man's name was Joe Philbin. Now, that's probably an unfair comparison. I'm not trying to compare Mike McDaniel to Joe Philbin. I'm just comparing the resume. And, he's a younger guy, McDaniel. We once hired not too long ago a genius young offensive mind named Adam Gase, and that blew up in our faces. So let me throw out a few more names here, and then we're going to bring on Brady Hawk to talk a little heat. You're also going to see, and I have seen it, Byron Leftwich, OC with Tampa Bay. His name's going to get thrown out there. I like Byron a lot. Same red flags as these previous coordinator names. Great offensive mind. I'm sure, by the way, being a former NFL quarterback in his own right, this guy can work with quarterbacks, right? Maybe he either decides, yeah, I can make Tua a real franchise quarterback, or maybe I don't like Tua. Here's what other direction you can go in. But yeah, I have my reservations about a first-time head coach. And also, to be fair, how much of his credentials been helped by, coaching Tom Brady's offense for the last couple of years. Let me just throw that out there. Eric Bieniemy, his name I'm sure is going to be in the mix. Another very gifted offensive mind, probably should have gotten a head coaching opportunity by now. No head coaching experience though. Jim Caldwell is very experienced, also a little long in the tooth at 66 years old. I know my guy Big O, this is his favorite. Caldwell is up there for me. He's gotten to a Super Bowl, very experienced as a head coach, can build a staff, right? Now, the guy that I think, and we talked about this with Alfredo Arteaga yesterday, I hope we don't let another team poach this guy, because I was reading a couple of hours ago, he's got an interview scheduled with the Chicago Bears. And I actually got kind of scared because I looked on his Wikipedia page. You know how people on Wikipedia sometimes jump the gun on stuff? They have him. I don't know if it's still up there right now. This was like a half hour ago, was on there, but somebody edited Doug Peterson's Wikipedia page to say that he's now the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I don't think that's possible because he's not actually had his interview yet. So maybe someone who edited his wiki page is either a Bears fan who wants it to happen, or they know something that we don't know, that maybe he interviewed secretly. He's already been offered the job. But no, I just think it was one of those Wikipedia goofs. But Doug Peterson to me, guys, this one just makes too much sense. Too much sense. Winning record as a head coach. Won a fucking Super Bowl. Okay, that is something we should put some weight on. Former coach of the year in 2017. It's an offensive-minded coach, which I think the Dolphins need this time around. And it's why most of the names we're throwing out there are offensive-minded guys. I think the Dolphins need that. He's also a former NFL quarterback, as you know, great mentor of quarterbacks. I mean, he had Carson Wentz playing so well till he got hurt. Then he coaches up Nick Foles well enough to win a Super Bowl with Nick Foles. And Doug Peterson played for the Miami Dolphins. So this one just makes too much sense. In fact, it makes so much sense that I'm almost convinced he's not going to get the job. Most of the noise that we're hearing over the past 24 hours are pointing to coordinators, right? It could very well end up being Brian Daboll or Mike McDaniel. You have to wonder if Doug Peterson's even going to get an interview, but that's the guy I would go with. That's the guy that I would lean to. Let's talk about the Miami Heat, who are making a ton of noise in the National Basketball Association right now. What a win over the weekend against the Phoenix Suns. We bring in Brady Hawk, the boy wonder himself, from 5reasonsports.com. Brady, good afternoon, sir. We missed you last week, by the way. I hope you're rested up to get ready for this segment today. How you been, man?
No, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm better now. I had to enter the health and safety protocols for the last week, so now we're doing better.
Well, I hope you're feeling better, and I'm sure watching the Heat rip through the Suns was nice. What were your big takeaways from that game? Because there's so much to point to, from Duncan Robinson coming off the bench and lighting it up, Omer Yurtseven's game, PJ Tucker, Tyler Hero. Like, what were your biggest takeaways from that dub?
I think the biggest one is Eric Spoelstra. Like, that felt like one of Eric Spoelstra's better games of the season. And it starts with Omer Yurtseven. Like, yes, 60 points off the bench from Duncan and Tyler is just incredible. It's something we may be able to see moving forward. That could be a duo off the bench that we end up seeing. But the way Eric Spoelstra utilized Omer Yurtseven in a way, he handed him the keys to the playmaking duties on the offensive end. He's done that with PJ Tucker all season, and PJ's done an incredible job with that, and he's elevated them in that way. But what they did in this game, which is something they haven't done up to this point, is they moved PJ into the dunker spot and put Omer at the top of the key and on the wing and told him, you're going to pick apart the Suns defense, which is one of the best defenses in the league. And he did that. He was running handoffs, getting guys open looks with PJs, screening off the ball, hitting guys on back cuts. He was hitting guys on sprays once he got on the roll. Like, that was a plan from Eric Spoelstra to put a guy like that in that type of spot that he's never been in and put that trust in him is just incredible. And that's basically what led to their win and the reason why they had a franchise night for most threes made.
I don't want to get too ahead of myself because it's still early enough in the season. There's still so much to come. But I've watched Eric Spoelstra's entire coaching tenure here, and despite what he's accomplished, still in recent years, every now and then you talk to some Spoelstra haters who don't want to give the guy any credit. Like, oh yeah, he won 2 titles, but he won 2 titles with the big three. What does that really mean? Even though he's primarily been in the playoffs, even post big three, he's been to the finals post big three. At certain points, people don't want to give him credit. I don't know how there are still any Spoelstra haters out there. And again, I know the season is still young, but given all the Heat have had to deal with, so many injuries, so many guys held out for health and safety protocols, so many two-way guys and former two-way guys and 10-day contracts. It's like night after night, Spo doesn't know who's going to be available, and sometimes he might be meeting these guys for the first time and putting them on the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, to this point this year, and I throw in that caveat to this point, is this the best coaching job Eric Spoelstra has ever done? Because honestly, I think it is.
I'd agree. I would say the same exact reason. And I think this is Eric Spoelstra's like ultimate scenario. When we're talking about a coach, like we talk about the big three and we talk about all of those things with amazing players, but he's better when they have young guys that he has to play them up. And he's done that. You look at Max Strus, you look at Caleb Martin, you look at Gabe Vincent, all these guys that he's able to play up and utilize all these guys down the line. And it's really worked. Like they basically gone about it in a different way. And Eric Spoelstra is one of the most creative minds there is in the head coaching. And I think that's what you're seeing most of all this season. Like if you're talking about anything that stood out with Eric Spoelstra, it is that he has put a bunch of guys in spots they've never been in. For example, PJ Tucker, who's basically been an offensive limited guy, and he's elevated him in a way. A bunch of young guys that don't have chances, and he puts them from, Caleb Martin. He can play the 2, he can play the 3, he can play the 4. He's played the 5 at times. Like he's been so creative with all these guys, and it's worked. And I think the biggest thing is just the way that the top 3 seeds in both conferences, they're 8-2 against this year with the guys that they've had. 5 of those games have had Jimmy, only 5 of them. Only 5 of those games have had Bam. Like he's had limited resources, but this is essentially, when he's at his best.
So I see this comment from Welch, and I'm glad he put it in the chat because I've been so consumed on Dolphins coaching candidates today that this one slid under my radar. Victor Oladipo worked out with the team today. Mm-hmm. How close do you think he is?
I mean, it feels like he's getting there, and it's the same thing with Bam. Bam did a little bit of work today as well, so it's both of them getting really close, and you're looking at, you're watching Clay days, and you're watching all these guys return. Like, these guys are meeting the thresholds of the original timetables, and it seems like them trending in the right direction, them traveling with the team, getting these conditioning workouts in. Like, this is important. Bam is just going to be, after he gets the cast up, probably just trying to get that strengthened a little bit, but he's really close as well. But I think the big thing is just, what do they do rotationally, I think is the big question about when they return. But either way, you figure that out later. Victor Oladipo being close is just huge. Like, we could talk about them needing him in the postseason, but it would be good to get him in for a couple months, maybe 2 to 3 months, and get him going with the team, get him adjusted, find a spot for him in the rotation, find combinations that work, where he is at this stage of his career after this surgery. It's going to be really interesting to see, but it seems like they're getting really, really close.
Now, you had a stat in your 5 takeaways piece from the Suns game just on how lethal the Heat have been against top teams in both conferences. Obviously, most recently against Phoenix. We've seen how well they played against the top teams in the East as well. What does that come down for? Is it just because I can't even really say the experience of this group because so many inexperienced guys have had to step up. Is that on Spo? Like, where do they find this extra intensity when they're taking on, the Suns and the Nets and the Bucks of the world?
I said it good. I do think it's Spoelstra, and I think the interesting thing is usually when you play better teams, you kind of tighten up a little bit. Like your game plan tightens up a little bit. You kind of go in the opposite direction when you're playing really good teams. Spoelstra's been more creative in the bigger games and against better teams this season than the other way around. Like usually you tinker, you experiment against a Kings team, you experiment against those type of groupings of teams. He's done the exact opposite. I mentioned Omer doing for the first time against the Suns. He turns into a passing guy. I talked about in the past against the Utah at home. The reason they won that game was Spoelstra shifted the defensive plan where PJ Tucker was guarding Donovan Mitchell, and he was the only one that could kind of slow him down. They started just screening and getting him off of him. So what they did was they put PJ on Gobert. So then every time they set a screen, PJ would be right back in Donovan's face and ended up leading to a win. You look back at the Chicago game where he had the ATO at the end of the game where they put all their guys the opposite end of the floor, inbounded to Gabe Vincent, threw it back to Lowry, and Lowry got the game-winning layup that sealed the deal right there. Like, there's all these moments, creative moments, that they've had this season against better teams. And it's just, I think that's what it is. I think it's just a really Spoelstra year. And then obviously a lot of these younger guys are just really capitalizing on it.
Yeah, this is well said, by the way, by Indade. Spoelstra has been the best coach in the NBA for years now. Those accolades are a popularity contest, don't mean anything. I couldn't agree more. I mean, for me, Eric Spoelstra doesn't need to be named Coach of the Year for
I don't
me
think
to
he
know.
cares.
No, I don't think he cares either, honestly. He's chasing rings, not individual accolades. So I look at the top 6 right now in the East, Brady. Chicago on top. They've been a nice story this year. Brooklyn 2 games behind them. The Heat number 3, just 2.5 games out of first place, which is remarkable with what they've been working with this year. And it's remarkable that they're a half game in front of Milwaukee at the 4 spot, Philadelphia at the 5, Cleveland, who's been a nice story this year, at the 6. If the Miami Heat, if they can get healthy at some point during the stretch run, are they the best team in the Eastern Conference?
I do think that. I will say that I just don't think they've never been scared of anybody. Like when you're talking about matchups, they don't hunt certain matchups because they're not scared of any team, and they always say that. But this is a year where I don't think they have a reason to be scared of anybody. Like honestly, you look around the league in a series against Brooklyn, they're going to have Kyrie for 3 games, and I don't even think if you're talking about Kyrie playing that they're that scared of them either. We've seen them, their weaknesses, their issues, and I think they're limited as well. Milwaukee has obviously played well, but I think they're beatable, and I think the biggest reason is as simple as one team has PJ Tucker and the other one doesn't. Like I think PJ Tucker is that big of a deal and that essential to a playoff team and can make that big of a shift in a playoff series. I think Chicago will kind of find some things out once they get a couple rounds in, maybe 1 round into the playoffs. So you'll kind of figure out what they are as a team. But either way, I do think Miami's probably set up the best in a postseason mode, just with the guys returning and everything else like that. And obviously, speaking of matchups, you mentioned those 6 teams. If they were to match up, I think right now it would be Cleveland is their matchup. And I think people get a little nervous with that a little bit because they struggled against Cleveland. And I think rightfully so, that's a matchup that has not looked good with them. I think Tyler Hero, the length is not a great look on Tyler Hero because it seems like that's the one thing that kind of slows him down. It slows a lot of guys down. It's hard to kind of there's only so much things you can do schematically to outbeat length. But playoff-wise, if you're talking about Miami facing them in a playoff series compared to regular season, I don't think they're worried about that one bit either.
This guy does fantastic work, 5reasonsports.com on 5 on the Floor. You can find him all over the website and all over the platform. What are you dropping later this week, Brady? I'm sure we'll get the 5 takeaways after the Hawks game tomorrow. Anything else in the works this week?
Yeah, just continued film breakdowns on Twitter and YouTube, just going over certain things from the Heat after games.
And follow him on Twitter at BradyHawk305. That's where you find those breakdowns. Brady, thank you so much, man. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Awesome stuff from Brady Hawk. All right, so we're still loaded the rest of the way. We're going to be talking with the Taco Man himself, Dave Friedman, Taco Tuesday, and we're going to be talking with Big John Stud. Big John Stud's going to go after me. He's I've been given the heads up. He didn't like some of the things I was saying yesterday. He didn't tell me what. I'm probably had something to do with me slandering Tua. We'll find out about that. But I'm also I want to hear the bones that he has to pick with me, and I do want to hear from Big John Stud what he thinks the biggest factors were in why Flo was let go, and who does he think the next head coach of the Dolphins should be. And I want that same stuff from the Taco Man. But before we get to our next guest, I want to remind you guys. We have an amazing family of sponsors here on Donno Daily and on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, and they make the show go. Our sports bar, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. I'm going to have lunch there tomorrow, and I'm very, very excited. And I don't even have to break my diet. Whether you're eating healthy or not, there is something for you at the Quarterdeck. I'm either going to get a fresh poke bowl with some nice tuna, some avocado, some brown rice, some spicy ponzu sauce, or maybe I'll get the Asian chicken salad. I tried that out there last month for the first time, and it was really excellent. And if you're not on a savage diet like me, there's plenty of options. Oh my God, there are options. The baby back ribs are so tender. The burgers and sandwiches are amazing. The buffalo shrimp is so awesome. And you can wash it all down 2-for-1 cocktails at the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. They have 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. Just ask them about the 2-for-1 drinks, and they will hook you up, my friends. The Quarterdeck is a great place to watch a big game. You want to watch the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers on a weeknight? You want to go watch the NFL playoffs there on the weekend? Yes, my friends. They've got flat screen, high-def TVs covering every freaking wall. If you want to find the location nearest to you or check out their menu before you go, visit them online at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The Quarterdeck, come for the food, stay for the fun. And we have an official sports book on Donno Daily. Yes, they are available in Florida. Sign up at betus.com, America's favorite sports book. They are the 3-decade leader. They're in their 27th NFL season. BetUS.com is trusted. They've been paying out their clients and customers for almost 30 years. This is the place to place wagers, my friend, the place to place wagers. So check them out, betus.com. They've got betting on every sports game you could possibly imagine, live betting on all of it. Live betting is fantastic. You can even do pop culture props at betus.com, bet on horses. They've got a full casino right there on the site. You can play blackjack for real money. I do that all the time. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. And guys, we got the #1 bonus in the industry for you. When you sign up today at betus.com, sign up with our show code. When you make your deposit, they'll ask you, do you have a promo code? Yes, you have a promo code, 5RSN125. You see it there on the screen. Type in 5RSN125, and they're going to give you a 125% bonus on your deposit. So if you deposit $100, for example, they're going to give you $125 in free play money. How freaking good is that? You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Devin Jordan asked me, did I watch Bama UGA last night? Abso-freaking-lutely I did. I'm always happy watching Saban lose. Now, obviously it sucks to lose your #1 receiver the way that Bama did. The first half was a field goal fest. Georgia breaks off that big run in the second half. And it was a very, very good game. And congratulations to Georgia. SEC is king, unfortunately. The SEC is still king until Mario Cristobal comes for them. And by the way, Mario Cristobal officially hired a running backs coach today. And I got to give props to the crew at the Sixth Ring, the Canes team on 5 Reasons Sports Network. They reported this a couple of weeks ago that Kevin Smith from Ole Miss is going to be the new running backs coach, and he is officially joining Mario Cristobal's staff. Yeah, former NFL running backs coach at Ole Miss. So, some of you wanted Miami to hire Lane Kiffin. Miami's having their cake and eating it too. They hired Mario Cristobal, and they're plucking members of Lane Kiffin's coaching staff. So Mario Cristobal's doing whatever the hell he wants out there, recruiting-wise, coaching hire-wise. I absolutely love it. Here is a guy who, oh, man, he's Tagovailoa. Dave, wow. First of all, again, like you always come at me like I feel like I'm at a rave or something, or I'm in the champagne room. I don't know if you're the guy that I want to be in the champagne room with, but this red mood lighting, you've got the taco cat, and that's a romper, right? I didn't know that when you were on last week. So that's like a shorts. Show me the shorts on that, bro. He's wearing a romper.
I won't go any lower than that. I won't go any lower. Nobody wants to see that. Then it will be the champagne room.
It's a one piece he's wearing. Freaking brilliant, man. Tagovailoa. Okay, so let me ask you this, because you've you're paying tribute to Tua with your screen name today. Are you? What is that?
There it is.
Scoop. Oh wow, I love that. Vaporize. Excellent.
It felt right,
That's perfect. Is Tua Tagovailoa, is it 100% he is the Dolphins starting quarterback week 1 next year? Or do you think even with Flo gone, they might still try to shake it up? Watson or somebody else? What do you think?
I'm still on the Watson side, or
Ooh.
the someone else side, right? I think, we're looking at the coaching interviews that they have set up, right? So Dayball obviously has the Tua connection, and then the McDaniel thing, like I posted today, he used to work with the Texans and Shanahan, and there's a lot of talk that I saw about him and the offense that he runs being really good for Watson. So it's almost like depending on which direction they go with, the coach should kind of tell you. I mean, if they go with Dayball, it's probably for Tua, right?
You would think, and listen, a couple of years ago, they hired an offensive coordinator for Ryan Fitzpatrick. So, if you're keeping Tua, you might as well hire a guy for Tua this time around. Now, and with Dayball, I don't know if you feel the same way, but if they were to give the job to Dayball, beg him to take Ken Dorsey with him. I mean, can you imagine? Because Dorsey gets a promotion either way. He either comes back down to his old stomping grounds to be the OC in Miami, or maybe Buffalo would say, Ken, stay here. We're going to promote you to OC. So either way, Ken would win. But if they bring down Dayball, you got to bring down Dorsey too.
Yeah, look, I mean, it's you're going with the Duke Johnson, Dorsey. We're just like running it all back, right? I'm with you. Like, if you're going to go that route, like, you got to go all in. And that's the thing. I think going with the firing of Flores, you have to think that they're going big here. It's not going to be some small thing. And oh, hey, this is how many first-time head coaches can they go out and take that really are geniuses at what they do and then end up not doing anything different, right? So I don't know. I mean, I'm with these guys, the assistants and all that. I get it, but to me, like the Harbaugh thing, what do I know, right? At the end of the day, like nobody can get it right. Greer can't get it right. Steve Ross can't get it right. So what do I know? But I think they got to go big, man. That's what's the difference here?
I would actually like Harbaugh, but I don't think he's going to get this job. And part of it is, I think Stephen Ross is scared to death of making it look like he's making Michigan worse to make Miami better. I think he basically, so I think it was Ethan who said this to me yesterday when he was on, like, he basically owns both teams. Like, he owns the Miami Dolphins and he basically owns the Michigan Wolverines, because he kind of is, not exactly, but he's kind of the equivalent to Michigan what Phil Knight is to Oregon. Like that's kind of the relationship that Steve Ross has there. So it's like, I don't think he wants to piss off Michigan to hire Harbaugh, because remember when he went after Harbaugh the first time, that was when Harbaugh was with Stanford. So that was a little bit different when he did that kind of messy thing where Sperano was still his coach, and then he and Jeff Ireland got on a secret jet and they flew out to Palo Alto. But that was before Harbaugh got to Michigan. So the situation has changed there. Okay, let me ask you, all things perfect. And you can include Harbaugh in this fantasy if you want to. If I gave Mr. Tagovailoa the authority, I don't know why they would give this to you, but bear with me here.
Why not?
If you had the authority to hire the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins, who would you go with?
I mean, I think I'd go Harbaugh just because. And going back to that for a second, like I totally get it. It makes sense. Like, you don't want to be that guy, but at the same time, like if you know he's leaving, if you know he's going to take an NFL job,
right,
then keep him in the family, right?
Might as well be this one then.
So I think there's something to both sides of that. I get it. I mean, from what I'm hearing or seeing, like everybody else, it doesn't look like it's going to be Harbaugh. But again, I hear he's looking to go back to the NFL. So it looks worse the other way to me. Am I wrong about this?
That's true.
Yeah. So I don't know. Whatever it's going to be, I just think ultimately going back like to the Tua thing, they gotta let the coach pick the quarterback, and I think like it's got to be something different. I don't know. I love Tua, man. Look, I did this because I don't want to be the Tua hater, right? And the red, honestly, and the red in the background is like, I feel like I'm playing devil's advocate.
You know who you are? You're like me. You're a wolf in sheep's clothing, because it's like, I've been known to play both sides on the Tua thing, but honestly, there's a reason why I play both sides. I'm calling it like I see it. I don't, game by game, I don't go into it with any biases. Tua has a great game. I'll tell you, he has a great game. He had some really good games during that 7-game winning streak. Tua goes out there and shits the bed against Tennessee. I will tell you, while there were other problems in that game, the play calling, awful, the coaching, awful. Everybody played like crap, but Tua was one of the people who played like crap in that game. If he plays like crap, I'm going to tell you he plays like crap. So if you think I'm all over the place, it's because I don't come into this stuff with biases. I call it like I see it, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, you get it. Like, we're all on Twitter and we see the Tua stands and everything else, right? But like in reality, we have to go based on the information that's presented to us, right? So yeah, like it's not that Tua just had a bad game. It was the specific throws that he wasn't making type of thing, right? He was short on the rolling out to the left on a bunch of throws. It's the way he looks bad, and then you start to see he just doesn't have some of the abilities that the other guys can. I mean, look, it didn't help that he ran those two really low, two like 15-yard runs or something like that at the end, and he's dancing on the field. I mean, look,
Those were great runs, though.
yeah, he can do it. It's just I go
Those were
back to
really
the
good
same
runs.
thing, man. Like every time they do something good, I'm like, man, this is gonna delay the inevitable. You know, like crap. I'm happy and I'm mad at the same time, and I want to stop feeling that way as a Dolphin. You know,
You'll never stop feeling that way as a Dolphin fan. It's been my entire life, and it's going to continue for the rest of my life and your life.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, something else I got to ask you, because I haven't talked to you. We haven't talked about it enough this week. Were you upset about Flo getting let go? Because this is everything among Dolphin fans is polarizing. Tua's polarizing, Greer's polarizing, Ross is polarizing. I've also found Flo to be really polarizing. Now, I can understand he's done some good things over these 3 years, and I'm not surprised that he's getting interviews for other head coaching jobs. I'm not surprised whatsoever. At the same time, and I said this to Alfredo yesterday, some Dolphin fans are acting like we just fired Vince Lombardi, which is it's kind of ridiculous. Were you pissed off that they fired Flo?
No, like I'm with you on that, and not even to compare him to anybody else, but like the whole thing that Manny put up that tweet. It's like at 1-7. And around the trade deadline, everybody wanted them all gone, right? It wasn't anybody specific. It was fire them all. Let them, yeah, and after they beat a bunch of teams, and I get it. Like I'm with you. Tua played good. They were winning. It was fun. Like in reality, you look back and you're like, okay, it's the same guy that you wanted fired at 1-7. So I just don't understand the outrage. I'm not really on either side of it. Just what's the outrage all about?
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And also a lot of the outrage he's inside the Hard Rock guitar. a lot of the outrage I found it's being fueled not only by local people but by national people, and a couple of national people who they don't follow the Dolphins as close as people like us and like Big John Stud and everyone in this market does. And so when people are like asking me like, well, why do you think Flo got fired? And I think there's a lot of factors. I don't think there's any one particular reason why he got fired, but I think one of the reasons why I'm not that upset he got let go is his complete failure to build a competent coaching staff. And a lot of people just either weren't aware of that or just haven't thought about it, right? Because like people from outside the market, all they see is, oh my God, they were 1-7, and then they were that close to making the playoffs. That's an incredible coaching job. And I'm sure some of that had to do with Flo. But at the same time, one of the reasons why the offensive line is so horrifically bad, it's not all personnel. Lem Jean-Pierre, not qualified to coach that unit. The offensive coordinator situation was an absolute mess. And they had opportunities to bring in someone this past offseason proven. Instead, they made what I think was a lazy move and an overthinking move to promote from not only to promote from within, but to have co-coordinators. And it blew up in their face. So it's like a lot of people from outside the market either weren't aware of everything that's been going on staff-wise, or it's just easy to ignore. Because I got to tell you, Taco, like if you were to ask me my opinions on like the other 31 coaches in the NFL, I'm going to have opinions on all of them, but I'm not necessarily aware of all of the ins and outs of their staffs, right?
Yeah. Well, I think part of it is national media. Obviously, they need something to talk about. And look, the other part of this is like Stephen Ross loves this shit. Like, his good or bad, like they're in the news all year, right? So, again, I go back to like 1-7. They were 1-7. You look at the Chan Gailey thing, like it was kind of right there in front of you, right? So. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, again, that's the problem. Like, you look back at the Adam Gase thing. He got fired, and he was the next big name ready for a job immediately. Same exact thing. What do we know? Like, at the end of the day, you come in and you have to let it play out. We saw it play out. They were 1-7. Like, that's all I can go back to. They were 1-7.
Amen to that. Hey, I know you do a lot of work on all these platforms, and you were getting on me yesterday because when I was shouting out Prize Picks, I forgot to shout out Prize Picks on 5. That is your realm, my friend. Let people know where they could see you, hear you, read you, find you all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network.
Yeah, we do the Prize Picks on 5 show. It's Ethan, myself, and Dave Eversole. We're giving you all the picks of the day so you can get rich with us, basically. So we're all walking around with money in our pockets, and we're just trying to help you guys out, basically.
Hey, you guys actually do well on that. See, there's a reason why I don't publicize my picks, because everybody in this chat knows what a mush I am. So I let all the Davids and I let Ethan publish their picks. I keep mine private because I don't want to embarrass myself.
Hey man, like I said, I'm gonna own the network pretty soon just because of this stuff. So
I love it.
Jump on board and use code 5. You know?
Amen to that. Amen to that. Dave, thank you so much. We will taco about it again next Tuesday.
All right, love you, man.
I love it. He's got the romper and the lay. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. That guy, he's not a Tua stan. I know a Tua stan when I see one. That dude is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He puts on the lay and he calls himself Tagovailoa. He's a fraud, but we love him. By the way, he brought up Prize Picks. Guys, make sure you are taking advantage of Prize Picks. Sign up. Hold on, I'm going to pull up a Prize Picks graphic, which I think makes me look more professional, and it also covers up my face. There you go. Prize Picks mobile app or prizepicks.com. This is daily fantasy simplified. Instead of building a fantasy team, you pick overs or unders. You pick overs or unders based on someone's fantasy projection. You can lock in 2, 3, or 4 players and make real cash. You can make 10 times your money for getting 4 predictions correct. And something that I love about Prize Picks is you can cross sport with it. Like, you don't have to pick, oh, tonight I'm going to select 4 NBA players and another 4 NHL players. No, you can go an NBA player, NHL player, NFL player, soccer player, mix and match them to your heart's content, which I absolutely love. So prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks mobile app, use our code 5, F-I-V-E, to get a 100% match on your deposit up to $100. Prize Picks is the way to go, my friends. Try it out, enjoy it, and then thank me later. All right, let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend. Tell you, man, I look forward to chatting with you every week. Big John Stud. I'm looking forward to this one more than I have in recent weeks. Not only because of everything going on, but you gave me a heads up this morning. I appreciate it. You didn't have to do it, but I appreciate it because I got thick skin. I really, if people argue with me, I do not give a shit. But you took issue with a couple things that I said yesterday. Let me know what you took issue with. I'd love to know.
All right. First of all, this is for Brooklyn Rock because he's my dude. So I'm doing this one for him. Now, first of all, when was the first time you found out that Brian Flores got fired? Was it Twitter or was it me?
Well, it was you, actually. You know, I mean,
so if it was me,
well,
why did you give credit to Twitter?
I gave credit to here's the thing. It's a little bit muddy. And I understand why you take issue with this, because here's what happened, Big John Stud. I actually yesterday I had a rare opportunity to sleep in, okay? So I wake up around 9:30, 9:45, which for me is like sleep until noon, okay? Because some of you lazy asses out there actually sleep until noon. I usually wake up around 6:30, 6:45. So I sleep until around, 9:30, 9:45. And I will admit, I am such a Twitter addict. I check Twitter first thing before I check the texts. And if I compare the timestamps of when you texted me versus when I saw Adam Schefter's tweet getting thrown around, you beat him to the punch, at least as far as I'm concerned. But I gave Schefter the credit because that's who I saw it from first. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I will give you credit. I'll give you big time credit because throughout the season, Big John Stud has told me a lot of things about the disharmony between Flo and the Dolphins organization, stuff that a lot of people didn't know about or didn't want to know about. Okay, so you were on the cutting edge of all of that, sir.
Yeah, I kind of let Reason take the credit for that. You know, they wanted me. They literally woke me up at 7:00 in the morning. I had Gio Gio woke me up. Cap woke me up. It was early in the morning. I'm getting messages like, "Yo, what do you say? What do you say?" I can't read that right now. Whatever.
Oh,
get out of here, Gio. They woke me up early. I got messages. They wanted me to jump on Miami Sports Music. whatever. I love Steven. I told Steven, hey, bro, stop saying I don't love you, bro. Just because you give me 3 minutes and Donno gives me 30, talk.
Just so you know,
I don't need to hear people.
You may end up getting 30 because I always lose track of time. I should be giving you 20. Well, actually, no, you 20 more from here, so that'll be about 25. But it continues, sir.
But yeah, I knew all these things that were going on. It's sad that Flo, because I do respect him as a leader, but you can't look, bro. When Tua's telling you to fuck off in English, you have a problem because Tua doesn't cuss at anybody. Okay, right. And Tua's telling you to get up out of the way and shut the fuck up, and you can't chew people like that, and that's an issue in itself because that guy took your shit the entire season. He took your shit before the season when you were trying to get him suspended for PEDs. You know what I'm saying? I mean, come on, bro. And you still want to, you don't like the kid, just say you don't like the kid. Don't sit there, well, he's doing better. He's progressing. Come on, we all found out it was a lie. Jim Caldwell didn't leave because he was sick. Jim Caldwell was sick of your ass. That's why he left. Jim Caldwell he just didn't want to deal with your bullshit. Yeah. At the end of the day, Stephen Ross got tired of his shit. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, another thing that I have to pick with you. People need to stop blaming Chris Grier and wanting to fire Chris Grier for Chris Grier making bad picks. I'm going to explain.
Why? Explain. Please explain.
I'm going. In Flo's contract, Flo has control of the 53-man roster, which means in his contract, Brian Flores has control of the 53-man roster. Brian Flores, believe it or not, from what I've understood, has final say on the 53-man roster. So, Chris Grier brought Brian Flores, Shane Gailey. He brought him Ryan Fitzpatrick. He brought him Eric Flowers. He brought him Illuminor. Brian Flores didn't want Illuminor. Brian Flores didn't want Eric Flowers. Brian Flores got rid of Kyle Van Noy. That wasn't Chris Grier.
Okay.
That was Brian Flores. Okay, another thing. How many times did I come on this show and say we should get Duke Johnson? Before they got Duke Johnson, I said that shit week 5.
Yes.
Okay.
You did. You absolutely did. You were on the Duke Johnson tip before he got here. 100%.
Why did it take him 8 weeks to realize that as much as I love Myles Gaskin, the man can't block a nosebleed? Come on. Ahmed can't block. Myles Gaskin can't block. No wonder everybody's blitzing off the edge. My grandmother could tackle Tua if you got Myles Gaskin trying to block. So, yeah, you bring in Lindsey. Fantastic. You bring in Philip Lindsay. I said that, too, before the season. Mm-hmm. What you should have done before the season was get Mark Ingram when the Texans let him go. Before when he was a free agent, before the Texans signed him, you would have solved all your issues. You get Mark Ingram, he can block a linebacker into next month. He can run the Wildcat. He can get you inside runs. He can run outside. Go get him. What is he worth? $5 million?
Mm-hmm. Get him.
Come on. He literally fixed every single one of your problems. He solves like 3 things at one time. You don't kill 2 birds with one stone. You kill 3.
Yeah.
And he hasn't played football because he was out half of last year.
Now my thing on the Grier Flores thing, I will concede most of the point for you. I'm not sure if Flo, maybe you're right, but it was my impression it was not in his contract to have final say over the 53, but Chris Grier is the type to say, I'm not going to keep players my coach doesn't want. I'm going to take his input. If he wants to cut somebody, I'll cut somebody. So to that point, I will say, you know what? If Brian Flores told Chris Grier, I need to cut this guy, that guy, the other, I don't think Chris was telling him no. So maybe most of the bad ones were flow decisions.
I was told from the same person that told me everything you know that it was in his contract. Now, if they're wrong, that's on them. I'm only telling you what
I hear you. I mean, there are two reasons why I think that's wrong. And if I'm wrong, you know me, I will own up to it. I will say, you know what? I was wrong. You and the person who told you were right. I from what I understand, they didn't want to give that to Flo after Gase had it and abused the power. And the other thing was, if you read the Barry Jackson report about, the control that Flo was trying to take from Grier, he wanted the authority formalized to have final say on. Actually, that was overdraft and free agency, not the 53. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure he didn't have technically final say over the 53, but I think Grier gave him a lot of leeway because Chris Grier, he didn't want to do things on the roster that the head coach didn't want. He tried to make Flo happy.
At the end of the day, one way or the other, one's an alpha who cusses you out for anything. The other guy is a submissive beta. They say he's an alpha, but if you give in every single time somebody wants something,
I agree with that.
So either way, look, Big O said it, and not to take it from Big O, but logic is logic. You're not going to sign Kyle Van Noy and then take a cap hit. That doesn't make any sense. You're not going to sign Eric Flowers and then pay to put Eric Flowers on another team because you're literally giving, what was it, like $7 million, $6 million to put him on Washington? And he played 37 times better than Austin Jackson, bro.
Yeah.
That was horrific.
Yes.
That was horrific. I've never seen a player literally stand there at 300 pounds and get blown away like if he's a kite. It's just ridiculous.
And it's like, how many times with Austin Jackson, it's like the ball snapped and it's like he doesn't seem to even know the play started. He's just like, okay, who do I block? Oh, they're already behind me. Oh my God.
I've never. I mean, you look. Maybe it's just me, but you can tell when you're watching a football player and you're watching an athlete play football. This man didn't even look. He walks with finesse.
Yeah.
So there's no aggression. You see him. He claps his hands like, oh, very good. Come on, let's go, team. Like, dude, I want Philip Lindsay to play guard, man.
He'd be a better
guard,
man. I'm telling you.
He should play. He should be the offensive line coach.
All right, so I got to ask you the $1 million question here. Who do you want to replace Flo? Who do you want the next head coach of the Miami Dolphins to be?
Look, I got two ways to look at this. I'm going to give you three answers, but for different scenarios.
Okay.
Right? If you're going to go with Brian Gable, because I honestly don't think that Jim Harbaugh's coming over here.
I don't either.
I don't. I'm telling you right now, they can pray. People can hit the floor, throw a fit. Okay. I don't think Watson's coming over here either. So guys, get off the bandwagon and deal with it.
You're not going to stop him from getting on the bandwagon, but I don't think he's coming here.
Brian Flores was the main reason why he wanted to be here. And he's no longer here. So there went that. If you're going to go Brian Gable, the only way I would like Brian Gable over here, I was discussing this with Gio, is if you bring in Brian Gable and you bring in Steve Sarkisian, they both know Tua. If you're going to do that, then by all means. If you're not going to do that, I don't want the rookie head coach. My preference out of all three would be Jim Caldwell. That guy is not going to get involved.
Peterson?
That was my third choice.
I'm sorry to jump the gun.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I want Jim Caldwell more than I want Peterson, just because Peterson had a control issue in Philadelphia. We already have a control issue we just went through here.
Yeah, it's true.
I want somebody who's going to not meddle in player personnel decisions to the point that Brian Flores did. Let Chris Greer do his job. Let Steven Alexander, in my opinion, would be a great coach. But, it is what it is. I just like the way Jim Caldwell deserves not one statue, like Big O said. He deserves an entire block of statues for getting Detroit to the playoffs 2 years in a row.
That's a good point.
When they haven't, they're horrible.
Well, and honestly, let me interject something here. I don't know if people are going to try to, if you're just going to think I'm terrible. I mean, not you, but some people in chat. But the thing is, like, I'm not a fan of the idea of hiring a 66-year-old to be head coach. I don't know if that makes me ageist or what. Like, I don't. That's just a reservation. I wonder if his best days are behind him.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How old is Andy Reid?
He's got to be in his 70s, right?
Okay. How old is Bill Belichick?
Right. He's got to be your late 60s, something like that.
So at the end of the day,
all right.
Look, if you had look, I'll put it like this. If Jim Caldwell is just going to stand on the sidelines and coach, I don't got a problem. If you're going to make Jim Caldwell start running laps with the team, then we got an issue. Yeah. The guy's going to die of a heart attack in that heat. And my third choice would be Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson, because Doug Peterson he's an RPO. He knows the RPO. He runs the RPO.
Yeah, that's my big thing. Yeah.
He runs the RPO. He knows the RPO. And at the end of the day, I mean, he did win Shula's 325th game. He was a Dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows the area. He knows the tradition.
And he's really good with quarterbacks. I mean, look at how good he made Carson Wentz look. And Nick Foles then. I mean, Nick Foles, who sucks. He had Nick Foles prepared to win a Super Bowl. That's impressive, man.
Wouldn't that be crazy? The Dolphins keep Tua, but they bring in Nick Foles to back him up.
It'd be better than Jacoby Brissett. I'll tell you that.
Listen. Me with one arm, I am better than Jacoby Brissett, and I don't play quarterback, man. That guy, he's man. That guy is horrific, man. For real, man.
By the way, I knew this was coming, and I had a feeling Brooklyn Rob would be the one to say it. Mush just hates the elderly. And then the show says proven age versus unknown youth. No, I'm not saying that. I want proven youth because Doug Peterson, I think, is 53. So I don't know. There's something about that. I think that's the wheelhouse. I want 40s and 50s. I don't want any more of these first-time head coaches in their 30s. I don't want grandpa coaching my team. Get me someone with experience in their 40s or 50s, and I'm happy.
Let me ask you a question, even though I know it wouldn't happen.
Okay.
My ideal coach for the Dolphins, if I could pick one and he would come out of retirement, would be Bill Cowher. Bill Cowher.
Thing is, he's been out of the game so long.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, bro. Look, you're driving a car, right?
Yeah.
You crash. You haven't been driving for 6 months. You're going to tell me you forgot how to drive a car? No.
I might tell the cop that.
But what I'm saying is he never forgot how to blow a whistle. He may give you – it's like getting back on a bike, man. I know it's not going to happen. I know they're not going to – I mean, I would ask him. But look, I'm tired of all these finesse coaches, dude. I don't need another beta male who can't. I want you to be an alpha, but an alpha that can delegate.
Yes.
You can say about Bill Carr whatever you want. The guy's a man's man. He's not going to take your shit. He's going to put you in your place when you have to. But when you do something well, he will tell you, "Hey, good job." Not like Brian Flores who will cuss you out for no reason, and then when you do something well, he won't even look at you. I mean, I know, I get it. Bill Belichick would walk by Tom Brady in the hallway and not even acknowledge him. But That's Bill Belichick. Didn't I say it on a previous episode? Stop being Bill Belichick. Be Brian Flores.
There's only one Bill Belichick. There will never be another.
And he has the rings and the cachet to tell you to fuck off, and you got to take it.
Amen. He doesn't even have to tell you. You probably just look in his eyes and you know it's time to fuck off.
That's it. Yeah, I'm giving you the look I give my wife. Leave me alone. You got it. That's it. You can't do that. You Brian Flores, and I heard this earlier today. Oh no, well, it's not fair that people complain because Brian Flores' record is 25-24. I said, yeah, but he chose to tear the team down. Yeah. That's the part they want to make it seem like, oh, he did a terrible. He's 25-24, but they're being unfair. Nobody told you to tear the team and gut it. You chose to tear the team down and gut it. That was your idea for you to remake the team in your vision and what you wanted. You got rid of I think Jarvis Landry. Either he was gone already or he was about to be gone.
Yeah,
you got rid of Atunsil.
Kenny Stills.
You got rid of Kenny Stills. You got rid of Minka Fitzpatrick. Like you got rid of everybody. Everybody had a problem with you.
Yeah, and you're right because the Minka thing. I know he got traded for a nice return. I'd rather have kept him here. And I think that was flow. Like the Laramie Tunsil thing, maybe that wasn't on flow, but the Minka thing, I believe, was on flow.
One way or the other, man. He made, and I'm not one. I know EM is listening, and I know he doesn't like the Brian Flores thing, and everybody wants to hold on to the guy for another year. I swear to God, yesterday I was doing backflips. I was literally doing backflips, and as soon as I hit you with the text, you knew. I was like, I told you before. I said he's not going to make it to the end of the year. He's not. You just can't. What did Landon Roberts say? We talked about it. He
coaching.
Goes to
it's not you. It's coaching.
Not you. It's coaching.
Yeah.
If I'm a Brian Flores guy, okay, and he's my dude. For me to sit there and tell you to your face, hey, it's not you. That's all you need to know. The players, people in the media, fans are like, oh, Tua can't throw a pass. He can't throw deep. He has a weak arm. Justin Herbert is averaging 7.1 yards a pass this year. Tua's averaging 7.1 yard difference. Okay, so let's get off. The fact that Tua had to throw the ball in 0.2 seconds is because you had, in my opinion, you had three guys that are on the offensive line that are drive-throughs.
Yeah.
Jesse Davis better stop putting on Twitter, well, Brian Flores taught us toughness. What toughness? Get the hell out of here.
And you know what? If Jesse Davis loves Brian Flores, you know why he loves Brian Flores? Because Flores
let him play.
Week 18, it's like he got Tua killed week 2, and somehow this guy kept his job till week 18. It's criminal.
And then people sit there and say, well, it's crazy to say that, Brian Flores tried to sabotage Tua. People don't like that phrase. Mm-hmm. I'm here to tell you, Stephen Ross went after Brian Flores and after Chris Greer and told them, you're trying to sabotage Tua Tagovailoa straight to their face. I don't care who wants to tell me I'm wrong. You've talked to me. Me and you've spoken off the record, off the platform. Have I ever been wrong about anything that I've told you?
You haven't. I wish you had been a few times because just so I could argue with you. But on this stuff, no, you've not been wrong.
So when trust me, people don't want to say Stephen Ross was under the impression himself that he was sabotaging Tua, and it is what it is. The proof is in the pudding. Don't tell me Tua can't go out and play against Baltimore, but then he comes back and he wins the game.
Yeah.
But he's not healthy enough to play, but he's throwing a 40-yard bomb to Waddle.
Especially when the guy you started over him is terrible. Like it's like if it was last year and Fitz was your backup, I could understand, maybe Tua is not right. We'll start Fitzy because at least Fitzy earned some respect. Jacoby Brissett did not earn an ounce of respect this year.
No, I don't think he's ever going to play in the NFL again.
Shouldn't.
Look, he played so bad, nobody would hire him as a quarterback coach.
Right. Right.
Who's gonna want to?
What's he gonna teach you?
Hold the ball till you die. That's it. Don't let it go. When the guy's open, fake the pass. Hold on to it. Don't let it go. Don't throw in anticipation. Wait till they're gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, you're right. He probably won't. He probably won't get another job because it's like maybe like 15 years ago, most teams, pretty much every team carried 3 quarterbacks. So maybe third quarterback, veteran. Teams don't really carry 3 quarterbacks anymore. He's already shown you can't trust him as a backup. Certainly can't trust him as a starter. I think he's done.
What is he gonna do in the practice squad? All he's gonna do is get dressed.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, this had to happen, in my opinion. And I kept telling you, this is not going to end well. And everybody, people are prisoner of the moment. They win 7 straight. And people can sit there and say, "Oh, but they beat nobodies." Listen, the Houston Texans kicked the shit out of Los Angeles, out of Justin Herbert. Okay. Any given Sunday, they can beat you. Anybody can beat you. And we won 7 straight. I don't care if they played a good team or a bad team.
Yeah.
Any team in the NFL will go up against Georgia and run circles around Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So stop. We give them credit for the 7 wins.
Amen.
But I think that Tennessee game sealed his fate.
Yeah.
When you can't adjust to the weather, when you don't think, well, you know what, Tua had a ball slip out of his hand because of the rain, let me run the ball. Let me give Duke Johnson the ball. Now, I do understand people don't really pay attention. The numbers are skewed. Duke Johnson ran 7 times for 49 yards, but on 2 of those runs, he had 30 of the 49 yards. Okay? So the numbers are skewed. But at the end of the day, Tua ended up throwing 38 times. And my biggest issue isn't even with the offensive game plan, because I understand why you wanted to throw it Tua. But at the end of the day, once it began to rain, once it began to literally come down, you have to change the game plan. My bigger issue with him is you're supposed to be a defensive genius. I said it when I was on here with you and Alfredo.
Mm-hmm.
Cover 0, blitz him. Blitz him on first down. Don't blitz him on third down.
Yes.
Blitz him on first down. Blitz him on second down. Make him get rid of the ball, especially if it's raining.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you let the man sit back there and play action pass you to death when
That's
you know
his
that's
wheelhouse.
the only thing he knows how to do?
That's his game, and you let him do it. You let him off the hook. And by the way, look. Yeah, and you were talking about credit for the 7-game win streak, and this is something maybe like when I look at a season, like I look at it 3-dimensionally, because like most people, they put so much more weight on the second half of the year, and it's like they forget about the first half of the year. Okay, like the Dolphins won 7 straight games, but there's a reason why they missed the playoffs, because they also had a 7-game losing streak. So think about it this way, Big John Stud, because Brian Flores, all 3 years in Miami, always his team started terribly, finished strong. So there was a pattern there. What if this year, instead of starting 1-7 and finishing 8-1, they'd started 8-1 and finished 1-7 and still missed the playoffs? Same thing. People would say, "Oh my God, you've got to fire this guy." Like, how do you do that? How do you follow up a 7-game winning streak with a 7-game losing streak? Just because it happened in the reverse and the winning streak is what you remember because it happened later, people are like, "Oh my God, this guy, this is the heir to Don Shula." I got news for you clowns. If he had started the season 8-1 and finished the season 1-7, you would have stormed the facility with pitchforks. Okay, so you have to look at it. It's an entire season. You could say, "Oh, the Dolphins, they're it's 7-game winning streak." No, they're a 9-8 team, and their team that also lost 7 games. And 3 straight years, this guy has started poorly and finished strong. Why can't he do it over the course of 16, 17 games? That's something I wanted to know.
Listen. This is exactly similar to what happened last year to Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Pittsburgh started off like 11-0. and they fell off the wagon, and Big Ben couldn't throw a 5-yard out, and it was horrible. And to your point, not only would they have stormed with pitchforks, you could have put the entire Dolphin cheerleader in front of the building naked, and they would have ran right by. Everybody would have passed by nude cheerleaders to attack Brian Flores. That's how bad it would have been.
Mm-hmm.
So they're only looking. They're living in the moment. They're living in the he won 8 out of 9. Yeah, but you lost the game that you should have won. Because at the end of the day, if you beat Tennessee and you lose to the Patriots, you still make the playoffs.
Yep.
You lost the game you shouldn't have lost. So that's what I don't understand. You went to Tennessee and you played the worst game of the season in every aspect. Tua didn't show up. Brian Flores didn't show up. The defense didn't show up. It's like I've never seen. That's what the problem is. Every time you play a good team, you crumble. Not even that you crumble. You're not even competitive.
Yeah.
If you're competitive and you lose, I get it. You play Tennessee, you lose 23-20 on a last-second field goal, cool. You got your ass kicked the entire game. They did to you what the Patriots did to Buffalo. They ran the ball the entire game. Here, run, 10 yards. Here, run, 10 yards. And you can't stop them. That's why, to me, you had to zero blitz them. If they hold you, it's a penalty. They can't run anymore. If he throws 64 screen passes, he has one. There's one offensive player. The only guy is one receiver. You're gonna tell me that you can't stop a third string running back? He wasn't even the second string. He came after Adrian Peterson left.
He did.
And he ran for 140 yards. Oh, man. That's unacceptable. So this had to be done. I don't know who they're going to put. To me, the more important question isn't even who's going to be the head coach, because I'm pretty sure they're going to either get Jim Caldwell or Doug Peterson. I mean, if you're going to bring in Brian Gaeball, like I said, the only way I would do it is if you bring in Steve Sarkisian. I mean,
Or the thing is, like, unless he got fired, which would have happened by now, I don't think he's not going to leave Texas head coach to be the Miami Dolphins offensive coordinator. Go ahead.
You would be surprised.
Really? Because see, if Brian Daboll comes down here, I want him to bring Ken Dorsey down here, who works under him
that's
there in
fine.
Buffalo.
Well, okay, look, either or. From that scenario, either or. They both know how to get it done. The only reason why I think it would be a bigger pull to Steve Sarkisian is because, how do I put this? You know how Stephen Ross has a love affair with Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah.
That is Steve Sarkisian with Tua. Steve Sarkisian loves that guy. He'll run through walls for Tua if he had to. And it's even that people say, I'm too. Hello? What happened there? I don't know.
Don't look at me, bro. It's your connection. I was losing you. I hear you now. You're back.
That was weird.
You're back.
Me and Tuanon, I'm like his cousin according to people, and that's not the case. The bottom line is, the bottom line is at the end of the day, I see, look, there's no way Tua can play 3 years of college football, be the greatest quarterback in the history of college football, and come out and can't throw a 20-yard pass. Now, I get it. His hip is an issue. Okay.
Yeah.
But he's going to have another offseason. But at the end of the day, like I said last week, playing with complete shit. Tua has won 13 games. And he's beaten Justin Herbert. He's beaten Bill Belichick 3 times.
Threw for 109 yards, but yeah.
That doesn't matter. Look. I don't care if you win throwing. I don't care if you win running. At the end of the day, he had 109 yards, right?
The runs were big. The two runs he had, those were big runs.
The bottom line is on 3rd and 8, He ran for 11 yards and got the first down we needed. I don't care if he throws for 109 or runs for 109, because at the end of the day, Lamar Jackson can't play quarterback. We would love him on ESPN, and all he can do is run with the football.
Right.
Lamar Jackson can't throw to anybody. Lamar Jackson can't even throw to himself. Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. What is the people complain about? Oh, Tua can only run the RPO, right? That's what they say all the time. He can't run a traditional offense. He has a week off. Okay, let me ask you a question. How come you don't hear the same shit about Lamar Jackson? Lamar Jackson can only run with the Baltimore Ravens don't even throw the football. They literally run 60% of the time.
Oh, you're right.
He can't throw.
You're right. He gets too much credit.
How come you don't hear? How come you don't hear? Oh, well, Lamar can't throw. Well, Lamar can't hit a target if it didn't move. I don't understand. They love to pile on Tua. It's not Tua's fault that Jesse Davis broke his ribs. I heard somebody tell me, the thing is that, I heard somebody say, the thing is Tua missed the blitz. Bro, you're missing the play. On the play Tua got injured, it was a 4-man pressure. It was organic. There was no blitz.
Bingo.
Jesse Davis just couldn't get out of his stance because he had arthritis. And they killed Tua.
I gotta let you know. Gotta let you go on that note, because I gotta run, my friend. You get even more than 30 minutes, by the way. So tell Stephen D, who gives you 3 minutes. I gave you like 35.
Yeah, that is absolutely fine, man. You just tell him when he comes back on. Big
I'm going
John
on his show. I'm going on his show tomorrow, actually. So I'll tell him then.
Okay, I'm gonna be watching you and see what you say then.
You should.
All right, man. I love you. You guys have a great day. Man.
I love it. I knew he'd be spitting fire. I knew he would be, and I loved his takes on Flo and on the next coach. So he says Caldwell is his top choice, but he also likes Peterson. Peterson is my top choice. Knowing the Dolphins, they'll probably get neither of them. Like it's too easy. It's too easy to get this right. It's too easy to get this right, which tells me they will probably get it wrong. Concerned Citizen writes in, we are all speculating. On the coaching thing, yeah. I mean, unless something has broken since I've been on the air and I missed it, the only things that we really know are that they've requested to Buffalo to interview Brian Dable, and they've requested to San Francisco to interview Mike McDaniel. So we know about certain interviews that are happening. Anything else, I'm not going to say speculating, because I think you have to give reporters a little bit more credit than that. But nobody knows for sure. I'll say that. Nobody, especially this early in the process, nobody knows for sure. Alex M. writes, and we'll end up going for Urban Meyer or something like that. Can you imagine how grabby Urban would get in the South Beach nightclubs? Like, if he's getting that grabby with the co-eds in Columbus, Ohio, you send that man down to the quality of women we have in South Florida. You unleash Urban at a South Beach club. Oh, my God. That's going to be a grab fest for him. All right, we're going to wrap up on that note. Make sure you guys are supporting our sponsors, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. You see their logo up in the corner. BetUS.com, our official sports book. It is available in Florida, absolutely. They've got odds on every sport you can possibly imagine, a full-service sports book, live betting on all of it. Sign up with our code. Let me get the right graphic there, 5RSN125. When you make your deposit at BetUS.com, sign up with 5RSN125. You see it there on the screen. They're going to give you a 125% sign-up bonus. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. All right, so I want to throw some shout-outs. Tony, 2 times, thank you so much. Concerned Citizen, thank you. Alex M., he would have his hand full down here. I see you. Very, very well played, sir. Indeed. Marcus Hunter, thank you so much for tuning in. Brad Boss, thank you so much for tuning in. Marcus Hunter, thank you so much. The Truth, thank you so much. Tua or Herbert? Flores wanted Herbert overruled. I'd easily take Herbert over Tua. Now I agree with that. I do not believe that the only reason why Flores was fired is because of his relationship with Tua. I think there's a lot of things. His relationship with Greer, his inability to hire competent assistant coaches. Yeah, he didn't get along with Tua, didn't believe in Tua, but that was not the only reason why. People simplify too much. Some people are out there saying, "Oh yeah, he lost his job because he doesn't believe in Tua." Like that may be one of like the dozen reasons, right or wrong. Because I know some of you in here think that it was the biggest mistake the Dolphins have made in a long time to fire Flo. You're entitled to that opinion. I'm just telling you that wasn't the only grievance. Whether you agree with him being fired or not, you can't point to one thing and say, that's why they fired him, because there was a number of things. There's a number of reasons why he's no longer here. If it was just one thing, they probably would have worked it out, and he would still be here. I think my microphone's about to fall over. This cheap-ass mic stand that I bought at Amazon does not work well enough. Martina, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate seeing you in here. Flores also got out-coached by – yeah, he did. Yeah, he did lose to Urban Meyer. That's a solid point, Martina. That is a solid point. Sean Caterling, who was we don't get a whole lot of messages from Facebook, but we do stream also. It reminds me, we stream on Facebook as well. I always forget about that. So if for whatever reason you can't access YouTube for some strange, odd reason, I don't know why everybody can access YouTube, but if you prefer to watch the shows on the 5 Reasons Sports Facebook page, you can do that as well. That is another option. We stream live there also. And Sean is doing that, and we thank you for joining us there on Facebook. Brooklyn Rob, my guy, thank you so much for tuning in. To anyone who may be new here, I will offer you this disclaimer. When I throw shout-outs, I shout out as many people as possible. I'm going to miss a few people. It's not on purpose, so don't take it personally. I'm not picking and choosing. I'm trying to shout out everybody I possibly can. Let's see. Who else? Das Hust. We just shouted out him as well. Let's see. I try not to bring on too many repeats. The show. Thank you so much. Let's see. JC1311. Thank you so much. By the way, because I see he's got the Spider-Man Avi. Over the weekend, I know I'm the last person in the world to see it. I finally saw Spider-Man No Way Home. Excellent. And you guys know I'm not a full-on Marvel fanboy. I can be very critical of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There have been some stinkers. Captain Marvel should never have been made. I thought 3 out of 4 Avengers movies were very mid. I thought that Infinity War I thought was the best of the bunch. The other 3, I thought were way overhyped. But when it comes to Spider-Man, I thought No Way Home was awesome. And I didn't really love the first 2 solo movies with the current Spider-Man. I thought that the first 2 solo movies, the second one I really didn't like. I thought it was very, it was so ridiculous. Like, as far as Peter Parker knows, in the second the one with Jake Gyllenhaal, and I love Jake Gyllenhaal, by the way, one of my favorite actors. But in the second Spider-Man, Far From Home, as far as Peter Parker knew, it was the freaking apocalypse happening. Like, he and everyone he knew were about to die. And instead of being concerned about the apocalypse, he was only concerned about giving MJ a Black Dahlia necklace and hanging out with his friends. I thought it was incredibly unrealistic. And then the whole scheme that Jake Gyllenhaal had to trick Peter into giving him those glasses when he should have just manipulated him more directly or taken it. I thought it was bad. But the third one, oh my God. And I don't want to give away any spoilers because maybe there's somebody who still hasn't seen it. But the third one I thought was awesome. All right, a few more shout outs here. Maddie Blue, thank you so much for tuning in. Todd Lobruto, sounds like a paisan. Welcome, amico. Let's see who else. I don't want to skip anybody. Okay, hold on. Scrolling down a little farther. Andres, thank you so much for tuning in today. I appreciate you watching. Our guy Taco About Sports, who also joined us live on the show. Let's see. Anthony Monsanto, thank you so much. Taco, if we get Jim Harbaugh with his draft in philosophy, would it fit Chris Greer's drafting philosophy? That's a good question. I'm sure that's going to be an important thing and I don't even think Jim Harbaugh's a candidate, by the way. I don't think he's coming here, but I think for anybody who is a candidate, your philosophy is going to have to match up with Chris Greer, because apparently the philosophy of Brian Flores did not. Flo no mo. That is well done. Every time Tua helps his team win, I, as a Dolphin fan, get really upset. Well, you don't get upset too often then. But rim shot. Marcos, thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see. Who have I not shouted out yet? J Mel plug. Thank you to Tua, a bum, he writes. He's not a bum, but, I don't know. Andy from Scotland. It was nice hearing from your son yesterday, Andy. We shouted out him on the show as well. Lewis, if you're watching, Andy's offspring, we appreciate the both of you. Oh, Alex M., by the way, this he wrote this in, I'm sure, when I was talking about betus.com. The answer is 1,000% yes. Yes, you can make UFC wagers at betus.com. I do it all the time. And the UFC is finally back this weekend. So, yeah, you can make wagers, including live betting on UFC fights at betus.com with our code 5RSN125. Estefan, my guy, thank you so much. Oh, and I'll shout out Marla. Marla is I don't think she has a YouTube account, so she can't use the YouTube chat. So she sends me a message when she's watching. I will shout you out as well. Thank you so much for coming aboard. Welch, thank you so much. B Smokey, thank you so much. Let's see. Frank Rodriguez, thank you so much for joining us. Lance McDonald, thank you so much. RC Ray, D, thank you. EP3, a lot of different people on the chat today. I appreciate the diversity. I love hearing from everybody. And yeah, guys, there may be some of you watching right now who don't participate in the live chat. I understand it because I watch live content all the time, and I don't necessarily live chat every time I watch. But for those of you who are watching, if you haven't used the live chat before, feel free, man. I feel like most of the people in our live chat are pretty nice. I've been on some message boards over the years where everybody's really mean. I don't know. I feel like for the most part, the people in the chat are pretty nice. I've only ever had to block people a couple times, and usually it's for spam. The two times I block people, I blocked spammers before, and I blocked a dude who like 3 weeks ago was trying to spoil Spider-Man in the chat, the new movie that I just saw finally 3 days ago. They were trying to spoil it in the chat, so I did not want to be spoiled, so we blocked that person because they were just being an ass. I mean, you come in here just to spoil a movie. We weren't even talking about the movie. We're just talking about sports, and they're here spoiling the Spider-Man movie. That's not cool. That is not cool. Thanks again, Devin Jordan, for the super chat. You are a saint. We appreciate it. Appreciate the donation. If you guys are able to do that as well, we love it. You help line Manny Chang's pockets with sneaker money. You help us contribute to running this channel. A lot of great people on this channel. The money goes to everybody. We appreciate it. Let's see. Have I not shouted out anybody? Big Dan 305, my guy. GA Kane fan, another chronic. He's always in. And I think that might be it. If I skipped anybody, it happens. I apologize. We'll talk to you guys again, not tomorrow, but I will be on various platforms tomorrow. I'm not able to do this show because of a commitment that I have for most of the day. I will be, though, doing about an hour tomorrow with Stephen D on Miami Sports Music from 9:30 to about 10:30 tomorrow morning. So make sure you check out his YouTube channel, Miami Sports Music. I'll be on there shooting the breeze with Stephen D. And tomorrow evening, I will be doing an Italian soccer pod on another channel that I run, the Calcio Connection channel. So I'm going to be busy tomorrow. I'm not going to be busy on 5 Reasons, but then we'll hit it hard again right here on 5 Reasons on Thursday. So thank you to everyone. Thank you to our guests, Brady Hawk, Taco About Sports, and Big John Stud. We'll talk to you guys again here on Thursday on another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Ciao.